Before you touch another pair of scissors or book another salon appointment, I need you to answer one honest question. When was the last time you actually looked at your bob, not in the mirror while rushing out the door, but really looked at it under good lighting from the side, from the back? Because here's what nobody wants to admit: a bob that isn't adjusted for your face today, not the face you had at 40, can quietly be working against you every single day without you knowing it. Today I'm handing you 5 secrets that most stylists keep to themselves, the kind of details that separate a bob that just sits there from a bob that actually lifts, flatters, and makes people ask what you did differently. Stick around, because secret number 4 is the one almost nobody talks about, and it might be the exact thing your bob has been missing this whole time. Hello again, my elegant one. If you've been here before, welcome back. It's always good to see you. And if this is your very first time landing on Elegant Beyond 60, welcome truly. This channel exists for one reason: to help women over 60 look effortlessly stylish, confident, and put together without spending money they don't need to spend or chasing trends that were never made with them in mind. Whether you found us today by accident or you've watched every single video we've made, I'm happy you're here, because what we're about to go through together isn't just hair care. It's a shift in how you see yourself in every mirror you walk past. Before we get into it, if this is your first time here, do me a small favor and hit that subscribe button. It costs you nothing, but it helps this channel keep reaching more women, just like you, who are tired of advice that doesn't actually fit their stage of life. Alright, let's not waste another second. Secret number 1 is going to completely change how you think about your part line, and once you see it, you'll never go back to parting your hair the old way again. Secret number 1. The invisible part line trick. Let's start with something so small you've probably never thought twice about it: your part line. Most women have been parting their hair the exact same way since their 20s or 30s, straight down the middle or straight to one side. And they've never once questioned whether that part still suits the face looking back at them today. Here's the truth nobody tells you: our face shape shifts as we age. Cheeks lose a bit of their lift, the forehead can appear slightly longer, and the skin around the eyes softens. A rigid, perfectly straight part line that once looked sharp and clean can now do the opposite of what you want. It can drag the eye downward and make the whole face look tired before you've even done your makeup. I think about a viewer who once wrote in describing exactly this. She said she'd worn the same center part since her wedding day decades ago, and every photo lately felt off somehow, even though nothing else had changed. The moment she moved her part just slightly and softened the line, she said it was like someone had turned the lights back on in her own face. That's the power of something this small. So what's the fix? It's almost laughably simple. Instead of one clean straight line, try what I call a broken part. A soft, slightly zigzagged line that moves gently back and forth for about 2 to 3 inches before settling into place. This tiny adjustment does something remarkable. It creates the illusion of volume exactly where gravity has been quietly taking it away, right at the crown and temples. It also softens the frame around your eyes instantly, without a single drop of product. Try this tonight. Take a fine-tooth comb, and instead of dragging one straight line through wet or dry hair, gently zigzag the comb back and forth as you part. You'll feel a bit silly doing it at first, but look in the mirror afterward. That subtle lift you've been missing without even realizing it, that's what a broken part gives you, and it costs absolutely nothing. Secret number 2. The length most women get wrong. Now here's one that might genuinely surprise you, because it goes against what most women assume. There's this unspoken belief that shorter is safer once you hit 60. So a lot of women keep asking their stylist to trim a little more off each visit, chasing that neat, low-maintenance look. But here's what actually happens when a bob gets cut too short. Sitting right at or above the jawline, it can visually widen the lower face and pull attention straight to the neck, an area many women would rather soften rather than highlight. The secret isn't shorter, it's slightly longer than most women expect, just past the chin, gently grazing below it. That small extra length creates a soft vertical line that elongates the face instead of squaring it off. We're talking about a difference of half an inch to an inch, nothing dramatic, but in photos and in person the change is honestly striking. Think about it the way you'd think about a skirt hemline. It was never really about shorter or longer for the sake of following a trend. It was always about finding that one specific length that flatters your individual frame. Your bob works exactly the same way. If you've been cutting shorter every time out of habit, try asking your stylist to leave just a little more length at the front next visit and see how differently it sits against your jaw. And here's a small tip most women never think to ask for. Request that your stylist leaves slightly more length specifically around your face, even if the back stays shorter for ease. This way you get the elongating effect exactly where it matters most, without dealing with extra length you'd have to manage all over. Secret number 3. The bangs myth. Here's a debate that's been going on forever. Should you or shouldn't you have bangs after 60? But honestly, that's the wrong question. It's not about whether you have bangs, it's entirely about how those bangs move. Stiff, blunt, straight across bangs can actually add years to the face, because they create a flat, heavy line sitting right above the eyes, almost like a shelf pressing down on your whole expression. What works so much better, and what most mature hair specialists quietly rely on, is what I like to call breathing bangs, side-swept, softly textured pieces that move independently instead of sitting like one solid wall across the forehead. This one shift softens the entire upper half of the face and gently redirects attention away from any lines on the forehead, not by hiding them, but by giving the eye somewhere far more flattering to land first. If you already wear bangs, ask your stylist to texturize the ends with a razor rather than blunt scissors. It makes an enormous difference in how they move and fall. And if you've never worn bangs and aren't ready to commit to a full fringe, even a few soft, face-framing pieces left longer around the temples can give you that same breathing, softening effect without any real commitment. Some of the most elegant women I know never touched a full fringe in their life. They simply let 2 or 3 longer pieces fall gently near their temples, and it does almost the exact same job. Now before we move into secret number 4, and I promise you this one is a personal favorite of mine, let's pause for just a second. If this video is giving you something useful so far, tap that like button. It genuinely helps this video reach more women exactly like you who need to hear this today. And while you're at it, drop a quick comment telling me your current bob length, above the chin, right at the chin, or just below it. I read every single comment that comes in, and I'd love to know exactly where you're starting from. Alright, let's talk about the one product mistake almost every woman over 60 is making without realizing it. Secret number 4. The product nobody talks about. This one is going to sound almost too simple to actually work, but stick with me here. Most women pour all their product attention into shine and moisture, and that matters, don't misunderstand me. But after 60, hair often quietly loses something else entirely, and that's texture, that slight natural grip that helps a bob hold its shape as the day goes on. Without that grip, a bob that looked full and shaped at 9 in the morning can look completely flat and limp by early afternoon, no matter how carefully it was styled to begin with. The secret isn't a heavier cream or a richer serum. It's actually the opposite. A light texturizing spray or a sea salt spray applied to dry hair, never wet. Spray it lightly at the roots, scrunch gently with your fingers, and let it either air dry or finish with the diffuser on low heat. This one small switch gives your bob that soft, effortlessly shaped look that lasts for hours longer than heavier products ever manage to hold. Here's the part most people miss though, the timing matters just as much as the product. Applying this to already styled, dry hair in the late morning right before you head out works far better than trying to build texture from the very start of your routine. It's a tiny adjustment in timing, but it makes the difference between a bob that fades by 2 p.m. and one that still looks intentional well into the evening. And if you're someone who naps midday, keep the spray nearby. A quick second spritz and a gentle scrunch after waking can bring your whole style right back to life in under a minute. Secret number 5. The angle that changes everything. And now, the secret that quietly ties every other one together, the actual angle of the cut itself. Most classic bobs are cut in one even straight line all the way around, which looked wonderful decades ago. But on mature hair, that same blunt line tends to sit heavy and flat, almost weighing the whole style down. What works far better today is a gently angled bob, slightly longer toward the front, softly shorter toward the back. This one structural adjustment does something almost magical to the overall shape. It creates the illusion of lift right at the crown while drawing the eye downward and forward, toward your jawline and cheekbones, rather than toward the back of the head where most of us aren't looking to draw attention anyway. It's a subtle change, only a slight difference in angle, but it's the exact detail that stylists who specialize in mature hair rely on constantly. It takes a familiar, classic bob everyone recognizes and quietly modernizes it, without making it look like you're chasing a trend that was never designed with your stage of life in mind. It simply looks like you, just a slightly more lifted, more intentional version of you. If you're not ready for a full recut, mention this angle to your stylist as a small adjustment for your next trim, rather than a complete transformation. Most stylists can shift an existing bob toward this angle gradually, over 2 or 3 visits, so you ease into the change instead of feeling like you walked out with a completely different haircut overnight. So there you have it, 5 small, almost invisible adjustments: your part, your length, your bangs, your product, and your angle. And when you bring all 5 together, they completely change how your bob works for the face looking back at you today, not the face from 20 years ago, but the one that's actually in front of that mirror right now. Real style after 60 was never about fighting age. It's about learning to style with it, working with what you naturally have instead of constantly against it. None of these 5 secrets require an expensive salon overhaul or a completely new haircut. That's really the whole point of this channel: small, thoughtful shifts that respect both your time and your budget, while still making a real visible difference. You don't need to reinvent yourself to look and feel your best. You just need the right small details, applied consistently. If this video gave you even one small idea worth trying this week, that's genuinely the whole reason I make these videos. Give it a thumbs up if you found it helpful, subscribe if you haven't already so you don't miss the next one, and tell me down in the comments which of these 5 secrets you're trying first. I read and reply to as many comments as I possibly can, and I would truly love to hear from you. Until next time, stay elegant, stay confident, and I'll see you in the next one.